Good morning.
Welcome back to Tools and Track. It is summer, so today we are going to go and make more fiberglass mess and destroy this. In the last episode we got the bonnet and the scuttle more or less exactly where it needs to be. This time we needed the last big literal elephant in the room, which is this guy. This is the back clamshell. We trial fitted this when we bought it and quickly worked out that it was absolutely useless. It wouldn't fit right. Clearly there was a height problem around about the sort of here area. Wouldn't go over. I've just got the rage, put it in the corner and forgot about it. Well, now we can no longer forget about it because it's the next stage in the big process. So, as you can see, I've done some measurements, right? So this is basically giving us what the floor line would project to, right? So if I measure from where the turret mounts to here, I get 55. Now, if we then take that to the car, and I measure here, we also get 55. So this not fitting has got nothing to do with the gap from here to here. So I would say that the bottom of this floor panel is exactly where it needs to be. That says to me that the top is the bit that's giving me the problem. So that means to me, if I'm going to have to chop and mess with something, don't do it with this, because that would still be wrong to where the turret needs to live. So we're going to bugger with anything, it's going to be where my elbow sits. But for the moment, we're going to put it back on and see if my plan of chopping and bastardising this is actually going to work. So first step, the big man and I are going to have to wrestle. Not with each other, with this.
That could be fun, maybe for another episode.
So, it's been a while since this has been on. It's been a while. I'm pleased to say, right, everything that I've buggered about with in the back hasn't intruded. We're going to get the tank in with ease. It's not going to cause us any bother. There's loads and loads of gap. What I have now remembered, just as we put this on, is I still need to make a frame that's going to go around the back and support all of that. But first up, we're definitely going to have to cut a hole here to clear that and size it up. Not a big problem because we knew that was getting cut regardless. Here's a good reason why we have taken so long to do this. These have only cheap for the past couple of years.
But masks.
Now they seem to be abundant for some reason.
There's of them available, which is interesting.
Refreshing.
There we go.
So we've got the clamshell on, and as we've agreed, if anything's going to get butchered here, it's going to be this top line because the bottom fits and this bit, the top fits. So I'm going to do this in stages just to make sure that what I'm cutting is right. Now remember, we always talk about many moons ago, way back at the very start, I put a kink down here for elbow room on these bars. So by all accounts, I'm not going to cut this bit out yet, but what we are going to take off is, well, there's two cut lines here. So I think if we take that off, and look, we're going to have to reshape it anyway, but that's a good place to start to see if we can at least get this tucked in and size out where the rest of it needs to be. So,
Sounds like a good plan.
it's as good as any. Let's chop.
Let's commence.
Where are we?
Did you take them off when we sat down to eat lunch?
Quite probably.
Yes, you did. We shameless plug here, Soup Classic Motoring, our entertainment of choice today in lunch. Fabulous for a Sunday.
We may or may not have imbibed some amount of alcohol, I think.
Yeah, we may have attended a venue, a public house.
It was worth it, I think.
It was fabulous.
Not so much now, though. That extension into the beer.
I can certainly do that. I can't help but get aroused walking past this thing. Porsche is not Tommy's cup of tea. They're not quite visceral enough for the big man, but I do indeed covet the...
Thank you, darling.
What is it you call it? You see the Stuttgart badge? It's a coat of arms, is that? No, that's not right.
Yes.
You know how those little icons, badges, there's a name for it? If you are listening and you are Anorak and you know what I'm talking about, please tell us.
My hopes that would allow to tuck under have been dashed.
Damn.
Nails off. What you're hearing here, viewers, It's literally the sound of the cogs in my brain humming.
So excited.
That was drastic.
It was.
I'm still not convinced it's actually right either. Back arches are kind of doing that quite a bit.
Aye, they look like they're being pushed out.
I think they are.
Do you know what it feels like? You need to cut down the middle of the very back and extend it. That's just my lowbrow, limited perspective, but it looks like it's not wide enough.
I mean, I know you're right.
I wish I wasn't. If it's any consolation, is your chassis wider than...
Oh, I think it's quite clearly wider.
Yeah.
So we've just had to widen out every other panel up until now.
Aye, valid, the front got the same treatment. So it stands to reason the back will require the same. I mean, is it as simple as just adding in a couple inches of delta at that back panel?
We could.
Is that going to then allow the rest of it to line up?
Well, I need a couple.
Aye, I'll go and put the kettle in.
So we've had a coffee, we've had a think. I've started to hate life again because we need to fully acknowledge this. It's just not going to work. If you look at it from the side, you'll see that the back wheel arches are doing that. The reason they're doing that is because the rear is too small. So it's actually pulling the whole lot out to stretch on. Now I thought I'd get away with it, chopping these and give it a wee massage and a tweak. Nah, that's not going to work at all. We've fully acknowledged that we've had to widen the bonnet and then widen the scuttle. Of course the back will need widened. I've just casually ignored that for months now. But it's got to happen.
Ignorance is bliss.
So I think what we're going to do is, well, we've got choices here. I can either bin this and start again.
That'd be a shame, look at it.
It would.
Look at her.
And what you need to remember here is, I'm a Scotsman and I am tighter than a duck's cunt. So that's getting kept. What we're going to have to do though is modify it. Now, we can obviously tweak and move things around, but I need to see a Westfield because I don't know how they do this. You look here, like that's your outside panel. Do they then subsequently sheet the inside to hide the back wheel from the passengers and the driver's arses? I don't know.
Or is there perhaps another part that acts as an inner arch liner, but how would that seal for water?
Either way, it makes no odds because I'm not adding two panels in when one panel will do the job. So you can see where this is going. I am going to chop right down to this line of the wheel arch here and all of this is going to go. It's just not going to work. There's no point in trying to make it work if I then need to add in a second panel. What we'll then do is probably use this clamshell for what it's designed to do, but modify it. And modify it means
Chop it into pieces.
like we did every other panel.
Cut my shell into pieces. It needs to widen more. Suffocation, glass fibres.
Wish I'd made it out of carbon fibre. Unlike the scuttle, where we widened it in two halves because we wanted to hide that it had been widened, this has a number of things that helps me not have to worry about it. A fog light, a number plate light, and what will probably be a whole raft of stickers or whatever else. So it's getting sliced right in the middle. All I needed to do was chop it in half. Another bit of kit builder advice, if you're ever welding one of these from scratch, put these on last because every time I walk by it, it is abject f***ing misery. Well, that was pretty f***ing drastic, wasn't it? However, I've readjusted these wee guys, and whilst we have now added half a foot of gap on the back, we do have a clamshell that more or less fits the way it should. However, I've put the rest of this on, and there might be some continuity errors here, just to see how this all lines up. And as you can see, not very well. That is useless, reaches nothing close to a decent panel with which to join everything else on, and will need so much work that I have absolutely no doubt it's getting chopped here. These bits are going to go in the bin, and we are going to have to do something pretty much starting from this section here all the way to the front, completely from scratch. But that's what we're doing, Tools and Track. Make a simple problem difficult. Right, I've got something halfway resembling a plan forming for this. Now I'm going to go into it in some detail, although it did occur to me whilst I was plotting this out and how to explain what I'm going to do, that there's pretty much no point. None of these are going to be dumb enough to make a voodoo book plan, match it to a Westfield after everything I've just told you about it not working. But if nothing else, at least you'll get to see how my brain works. And that's really why you're watching, I guess, isn't it? Anyway, right, so this is how we're going to solve it now. I've lined this up, and as you can see, even with the modifications we've made, and by modifications, complete and utter butchery, we are still not quite sitting right. So I've put the back together, so that's now like level. I'll put a bit more support in the bottom just to stop it kind of moving around and flexing. But on the top turrets, you'll see we're not quite flush, not on either of them. Now, there's a very obvious line here. When we put whatever support goes around there, it's either going to follow and hide in this ridge of this part, or I'm going to sit it on the lower part to catch this flap. Many, if not every single low cost that I've seen, or Caterham, or Westfield, or whatever, have this built out of like round section tube, as opposed to square section we've done literally everything else on the car in. So I would say this is probably going to be designed to have the tube ran in it and some form of like flappy flange coming out to catch here and secure it. I was debating cutting a wee corner and actually just putting square section under here to just minimise the drama. However, straight away it's going to bugger with this fuel filler, and frankly, at this stage of the build, just kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. If it's designed to run like this, make it run like this. I'm literally saving no drama by deviating from the plan. So I think we're going to get some tube, we're going to bend it, and we're going to make up our top rail that will actually support all of this, and then probably think about a couple of spars to put through to the bottom so that it doesn't flex and wobble. And then we're going to use this top frame to actually finish off filling in this big gap. Now, the problem there comes, how far out from here do I make the top frame? I've got a couple of choices here. We can either pretty much send it where it is the now, which is, you know, not great. It seems to be sitting a wee bit too high up here, or we can notch it back a wee bit so that that sits over this line. Same on there. Chop in a wee gap here so it'll clear into here, that bit, and then we'll have to probably chop into this so the whole lot sit down. Benefits with that, everything sits flush, everything looks right, and there's a whole lot more there to grip it on. And this, when we project the bar out, will actually touch on the inside of here. So in a rare break of character, I'm going to do it the right way, and we're going to get the angle grinder out. Don't get used to this, by the way. It's not going to be like the way things happen from here on in, because I'm going to bodge everything else. Bit to go in this episode, and that should be the clamshell structure in place, if not necessarily the entire clamshell resolved. So the last thing we need to do is this crescent shape here. Now the back's nice and supported, which is great, However, we've still got to put this arch in here. Now this is going to be quite a critical part, because if you're going to be getting in and out of the car, this is going to be a pretty crucial lean point. You're always going to be pushing against this, and sooner or later it's going to crack and fail. So we're going to have to add a crescent in here. And the best way to do that is with a template, obviously. That's good. Feels a lot more stable than what it did before. However, that was not a quick process. Heating up the steel and bending it like we've done for that back truss is far quicker than doing this cut and fillet nonsense. Thankfully though, that's done. Well, apart from the one that's missing from there. But that's definitely a job for another day. Look, I've scrubbed out the list because it's pointless. It's literally reminding me nothing. Next week, we're going to start a big proper list. A proper list that's going to have things on it that we're going to do. So you'll know what's coming up, because even right now, I don't. Look at it. Look at it. It's just so disjointed. I have got no clue where I'm at with it. And what you won't notice, because I edit this accordingly, is that I've actually walked away from this for a couple of weeks now, just because I'm at that place where you need to put the brain in a bucket and let it detox for a bit. And now I'm going to have to come back to it again and start thinking of what I'm supposed to be doing here. Definitely need to start the clamshell, so I think I might use that to kind of kickstart the next episode and get a bit of momentum going in this again. But until then, Patreons that are running up the side of the screen here are fantastic supporters of Tools and Track. If you don't know what that's about, patreon.com/toolsandtrack, because it's literally paying for all of this. Well, it's not literally paying for all of it, it's paying for a good chunk of it. Anyway, it helps. That's my point. Go have a look, help us out. There's obviously Patreon only stuff on there. There's another Patreon episode coming very soon. If that's not for you, I get it. You know, things are tough. It's not like it's an electricity bill, but it's still a bill. Just do the like, subscribe nonsense that's sitting at the bottom of the screen, because that does help as well. And until next time, guys, drive safe. Because if we